Hello, listeners, and welcome to Episode 4 of DNA Film Wars. Today is our discussion episode for week 2 of our podcast. So, just a quick note real fast. So I said on our last podcast that we were going to review Suspiria for this week's show. Upon reflection and watching Suspiria, I think we're going to do 2 review episodes this week. I think we're going to release Suspiria as a quote-unquote bonus episode that'll probably come out. I'm going to say it'll be released Thursday. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to go watch Hunter Killer, Gerard Butler's new movie this weekend, and we will review it. Yeah, it's going to be a little rough. But to start off this week, me and Dylan went and we watched Halloween again today. So Dylan, he's sitting here with me. What'd you think after second viewing?
I enjoyed it again, but I'd have to say I probably enjoyed it a little bit less this time. It wasn't quite as good as I thought it was going to be a second time. The things that annoyed me in the first one or really got on my nerves the first time we watched it got on my nerves a little bit more this time around. For sure, the Doctor, just probably the worst character in the entire movie. It is
no probably about it. He
awful.
Is the worst character.
And I would venture to say he delivers one of the worst lines. At 100% the worst line in this movie, possibly one of the worst in the entire franchise of, "I'm a doctor, lock your doors."
Yeah, I'm not real sure if that was supposed to be funny.
I want to know what the logic is behind that. Like,
yeah.
I'm a doctor, lock your doors.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'm going to agree with you. Second time around, I still have about the same opinion. I'd still give it the same grade.
Yeah.
Some of the things bothered me a little bit more. I think I said in our review that I liked Judy Greer's performance. Upon a second viewing, it's okay. I like her towards the end of the movie. The rest of the movie, she's just kind of eh. I also said that I thought I gave the actress, I think her name's Andi Matichak, who plays the granddaughter, the benefit of the doubt, and I said I think it might have been more the writing than her acting. It's both. Her acting's not great,
and that writing is not doing.
And that writing's not giving helping her out with any favors. So yeah, I'd say about the same. But I think we've talked enough about Halloween. So let's move on to what the movies we're going to be reviewing this week. Let's start with Suspiria. We actually just sat down and watched Suspiria.
Just finished it not too long ago. Probably in the last hour or so.
We'll go in depth about our review in our next episode. But are you excited about reviewing it at least? Talking about it?
I will say, as of right now, the film was intriguing.
Yes, it was intriguing.
I don't know what more I can say about it at this time. It's gonna be a ride.
Yeah. I'm really interested, after watching this original, to see what they change and what they keep the same in the remake. I think Dylan told me earlier that the remake's supposed to be about 2.5 hours.
2 hours and 32 minutes to be exact.
That is a long movie.
Especially it is the exact same length as The Last Jedi.
Ooh, we don't talk about that movie.
Which is about an hour longer than the original that we just watched. That is 1 hour and 33 minutes, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. The one thing I will say that has me excited about the new film is that it has Tilda Swinton, who I think is a solid actress.
Pretty good casting choice.
Yeah, she can play a creepy character. So
Dakota Johnson, though she has been in the 50 Shades movies, looks like she might do a good job too. So
yeah, I will say I watched her in Bad Times at the El Royale, and I was expecting the worst considering what she got famous for, but I thought she did pretty good. I thought she was actually one of the better actresses in the film. So what about Hunter Killer? Are you looking forward to that?
Gerard Butler for me is okay. Some of his better work includes 300, and there might be one or two others in there that are passable for me, but other than that, Gerard Butler's not quite up to par sometimes.
Yeah, I'll say
I don't know how I'm gonna feel about it.
Yeah, I'll say that we thought about doing our top 5 Gerard Butler films, but I got to looking at them, and I don't think I have watched 5 Gerard Butler films, at least not all the way through. So I was like,
I would venture to say I've probably seen about 5 Gerard Butler films. With that being said, considering the fact that I've only seen a very select few, I wouldn't say that I could make a top 5.
Yeah, well, I'm going to go ahead and be honest. I struggled to get a top 5 for our 2 lists that we're going to talk about today, especially our top 5 films that involved witches.
That was a hard one, yeah.
Yeah, because turns out I have not watched a whole lot of movies that involved witchcraft, so that was...
We got a little out there kind of on some of our picks, so we're just gonna...
Yeah, so we didn't limit ourselves to just horror movies that involved witchcraft. We expanded a bit, because otherwise I would not have had 5 films to pick from. So, but with all this being said, why don't we go ahead and get into our first top 5 list, which is top 5 horror films.
All right, you want me to go ahead and start it off?
Yeah, go ahead with your number 5.
All right, starting at number 5, I have a film from this year, which is Hereditary.
Oh, interesting.
So it was a real good one. Coming from a first-time director, whose name I cannot think of at this time, it was really extraordinary. Toni Collette's performance in the movie is great. It is probably the best acting I've ever seen her give in any role. I'd say a close second to that was maybe The Sixth Sense. That's been a while. I believe Alex Wolff is in the movie, plays the son. He also gives a great performance.
Yeah.
For a young man, as well as Millie Shapiro, who plays the daughter, who dies at the beginning-ish of the film.
Spoiler alert. Yes.
Sorry. But overall, the story is really neat, and it's really a family-oriented drama more than a horror movie for most of the movie. And then it kind of gets more supernatural at the end, but it's kind of a slow burn, but it's really good, and I would almost put that in probably my top 5 to top 10 movies of this year so far. So that's gonna be my number 5.
Oh yeah, definitely. At number 5, I have The Exorcist, the original Exorcist. I sat down and watched this here not too long ago. I can't say that I liked it as much as I thought I would. You know, you always hear about that people are talking about the greatest horror movies ever made. The Exorcist always comes out near the top of the list. I think part of my problem was that I have seen every movie, well, not every movie, but a lot of movies, you know, more recently that just rip off The Exorcist, so the impact of what they were doing wasn't quite as effective. But it's still a good movie. The little girl in that film is very creepy, especially towards the end of the movie. The whole, you know, possession thing, it's really great. The acting in the movie is pretty good, from the young girl to the 2 priests and everything.
The creepy story surrounding the movie is really interesting too. So
yeah, you have to pay your respects to it, just because without The Exorcist, modern horror movies would not be the same. I will say though, towards the end of the movie, when the girl's all got her demon face makeup on, the only thing I could think was, it looks like Senator Palpatine had a baby, and that was just in my head the whole time. But no, it's a solid movie. Maybe we'll go back and review it one day. There's some things that I didn't really care for, some things I still have questions about, but there's some really great parts too. So, what about your number 4?
Coming in at number 4 on my top 5 horror list is going to be Insidious. The first Insidious movie from James Wan was pretty creative at the time. Something that hasn't really been done before to a degree. Most of the movie is, you know, your classic haunting movie of a family. Then we add in the aspect of the fact that these people can... The term in the movie is astro project, where they can take their spiritual body and project it outward from their physical body and walk it through different realms and stuff like that. And they enter a world called the Further, where trapped souls are. And it's a really interesting movie, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Patrick Wilson gives a really great performance in the movie, as well as Rose Byrne, as well as the young boy who plays the lead character in the movie. Can't think of his name at this moment in time, but he also gives a great performance, and it's one of my favorites.
Alright, so for my number 4, I'm going to go with Hereditary. Like you said, it's definitely one of my favorite movies that I've seen this year. It's pretty scary, just some of the ideas that they have. I will say I loved it all the way up until the last 10 minutes. And
it gets a little off the rails there at the
it
end.
goes way off the rails in the last 2 minutes. It kind of turns into your more generic Exorcist ripoff with the mom running around on the walls, banging her head against the ceiling door. And then when he goes, this is all spoiler alert, of course. When he goes up into the treehouse, they have to explain to me what's going on. And I feel like if you have to explain to me your big ending, you've kind of failed. Because it should be like some big aha moment. But it's not. It's just kind of like, what the heck's going on moment. But before that, it's like, I really liked it because they tried to make you wonder, is this stuff really happening? Or is the mom just doing all this and seeing all this stuff in her head? Which is something I really, really like the concept of. Like I said, they throw it away in the last 10 minutes.
You know, I kind of called the ending of that movie the first time I watched it. Of course, I work at a movie theater. So I get to do screenings before movies come out. So I got to watch this on a Wednesday night at about 2 o'clock in the morning, which upped that scare factor a little bit.
Yeah.
But I kind of called the ending a little bit when I watched it. I was like, I bet you it's going to be a cult. And it turned out to be a cult at the end, and I was really surprised. So
Yeah, I wish they would have really tried to leave it ambiguous as to whether or not it was really happening or whether the mom was just imagining it all in her head and actually doing this stuff to her family. But no, they don't. They make it pretty definitively clear this kid was haunted by or possessed by some demon or something. So, but as I said, overall, I really liked it. So I got it coming in at my number 4.
all right. Well, coming in at my number 3, a movie that we have talked about an extensive amount in the last 2 weeks is John Carpenter's 1978 Halloween. I'm not really going to talk much on it, considering the fact that we have talked so much about it already. I will say it's a classic and love it with my whole heart.
Yeah, coming in at my number 3, I have The Conjuring, the first one. You know, I sat down and watched it for the first time here not too long ago, and it's a pretty scary movie. As far as as far as modern day horror movies go, I think it's really well put together. Obviously, it has Vera Farmiga. I'll watch her in anything. She's great. Patrick Wilson does a solid job in it. I'll say that my biggest complaint about it is how they try to sell it off as a true story, which it
is.
It is the true story that it's based off of. I don't think it's a very reliable story, but of course, from what I've read, yeah, they make the Warrens out in the movie to be like these good doers that are just there to help families try to overcome hauntings. I think in reality they were money hungry attention seekers, but just looking at the film itself and not on its historical merits, it's a really solid film.
That case was proven though, supposedly.
It's a really solid film. I think, and of course it spawned all these prequels and spin-offs and stuff that I have yet to get around to. But I would say that it is pretty good. Pretty good. I think James Wan is a James Wan film, right?
James Wan is the director of that movie.
Yeah. His stuff is hit and miss, but that one was a hit.
All right. Well, coming in at my number 2 is your number 3, and it is The Conjuring. It is probably one of my favorite horror movies I've ever seen. James Wan does such a great job with it. He does a really good job with most things that are in the horror aspect, as long as he's directing the film. If he is a producer attached to the film, not always quite as good. From some of his first work with Saw, and then The Conjuring, as well as what else has he done? He also did
Didn't he do Insidious?
He did do Insidious, and then spanning outside of the horror realm, he did Furious 7, which was really good. So overall, The Conjuring's a really good time. I like it. Vera Farmiga gives a great performance, as well as Patrick Wilson in that movie as the Warrens. And all the children do a pretty good job in the movie as well. It's a good time. I really enjoy it. It's my number 2.
So coming in at my number 2, I have Nightmare on Elm Street. I think I talked about it in my top 5 slasher films. I really like Wes Craven's first film. It's really good. The concept, as much as anything, is really great. Freddy being in your dreams and you not being able to escape. The makeup looks great. Robert Englund puts on a great performance as the serial killer. Johnny Depp and Heather Langenkamp, like I say, for slasher movie teens, they're passable. So it's a really solid slasher film. I got it coming at number 2.
All right. Well, to top off my top 5 horror films, I'm gonna go with your number 2. My number 1 is gonna be A Nightmare on Elm Street. I would definitely have to put it my number 1 for nostalgia reasons. It is the first horror movie I ever remember sitting down and watching, and it is what really made me fall in love with horror movies. and what gives me my love for horror movie today. Horror is probably my favorite genre. I just really enjoy watching them, and I wouldn't enjoy it as much without that movie. I've already talked about it in my top 5 favorite slasher movies, and everything Aaron said is very true. So just wanted to say that was my top movie. So
at my number 1, I have Halloween, of course. I've talked about this extensively. I love this movie. It's great. John Carpenter did a great job. So yeah, that's all I gotta say about that. All right, so let's move on to our next top 5 for this week. Our top 5 witch films.
Quote unquote witch films.
Quote unquote. So for this list, as I said, we did not limit ourselves to just horror films. These are any films involving witchcraft. So, oh yes, also a quick note. I told Dylan that he could only have one Harry Potter film. So we just kind of lumped in Harry Potter as one franchise. Otherwise, most of both of our top 5 lists will probably be Harry Potter films. Dylan, with that in mind, what do you got at number 5?
Number 5. Number 5 for me is going to be The Blair Witch Project. I've only seen this movie about 2 or 3 times in my life.
Only 2 or 3 times. I don't think I could handle it once.
Only 2 or 3 times. At the time, it was groundbreaking, and it really kickstarted that found footage style that everyone has come to hate over the years.
Yes. Thank God.
But it really did it pretty well for the 90s, and it made an extensive amount of money for its really low budget. The budget of this movie was so low that at the end of filming, they returned their camera to the store at which they bought it so they could afford to market their movie to people. As well as the lead actress in the movie's mother getting emails and fan letters telling her that they were sorry for her loss because everyone thought the film was completely and totally real.
I'm not gonna say everyone. I'm gonna say a few slow people.
A lot of people. You'd be surprised how many people. She got tons of mail from this movie. But for what they could accomplish in the late 90s with such a low budget, it does a good job at what it's for. So that's my number 5.
All right. At number 5, I'm gonna do a change up from what I have on my notes here. I had Narnia, but since we just finished watching Suspiria, I think I'm gonna drop out Narnia and put Suspiria there. We'll talk about Suspiria. It's not a perfect film, but it's intriguing. I found it intriguing, and since I'm already got a pretty short list of which movies that I've seen to pull from, I'm gonna put Suspiria at my number 5.
Coming in at my number 4, I got Hocus Pocus.
Oh dear Jesus!
Don't you dear Jesus me. I got Hocus Pocus on my list also for nostalgia reasons. I grew up watching this every Halloween. I'm not as old as this movie. I mean, this movie came out in 1993, and obviously I was born in 99, but I just told my age. But I grew up watching this every year, this and Halloween Town. But I would say this is a better film than Halloween Town. I really enjoy it. Sarah Jessica Parker and Bette Midler is the main witch in the movie. They do a good job. I can't remember the lady that plays the third witch. She's not really important. But overall, I really enjoy it, and it's always been a fun time for me, and it's got to be number 4 just for nostalgia reasons. So,
I am one of the few people I know that has not watched either Hocus Pocus or Halloween Town. I guess that part of my childhood just kind of got skipped over.
I'm so sorry.
Coming in at my number 4, I'm gonna go with the ultimate classic, Wizard of Oz. I can't say that I can sit down today and just love this film, but when I was a kid, I did love this film, and it's just so revolutionary. It's one of the first major color films out there, I believe. Came out in 1939, I believe. And it's a nice little family-friendly tale about friendship and courage and having a heart and so on. And you can't help but love the Wizard of Oz.
Absolutely. With that being said, since Wizard of Oz is your number 4, I got Wizard of Oz at my number 3. Everything that you've said is very true. Coming out in 1939 was, with the color aspect of it after the beginning, was very revolutionary for it at the time. It was one of the first, if not the first film to be released with color. But Judy Garland does a great job as Dorothy, and she went on to become a extremely famous and talented actress who has done many things.
She was in the original A Star Is Born, right?
She was in not the original, because technically the original, I believe, came out in 37, and she was in one in 54, so...
She's in one of them.
She is in A Star Is Born at some point in time. But overall, The Wizard of Oz is a really good time, and I enjoy it a lot.
All right, coming in at my number 3, I have Harry Potter. I'm just going to not specify which one. I think, Harry Potter as a franchise is loved by many. I don't think I love it as much as a lot of people, but I can enjoy it. I think there are some really solid entries in it. I'd say the first 3, 4. I think the first 4 are all pretty good. 5 and 6 are kind of eh. And part 7, part 1, or whatever it is kind of eh. But the last one's really good. But yeah, it's Harry Potter. What's not to love?
That's fair. Coming up with number 2, one that we've already talked about. Technically has to do with the witch. The Conjuring. There's not much more I'm going to say about this. I really like the movie. It's one of my favorite horror movies. It's also got witch aspects. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, number 2, Conjuring. Ain't got much to add. Move on.
All right. Capping off my list, of course, you knew it was coming. Harry Potter. The franchise as a whole, really love it. 1, 2, and 3 are the best. 4 is still a fun time. 5 and 6 kind of drop off a little bit. 7 is a step up a little bit for me. And then number 8 is a good time. Love them all. Still good.
I blame
until the day I die.
I blame Harry Potter for this young adult craze explosion.
Don't you talk about Harry Potter
and
that way.
I can't forgive it for that.
Don't you talk about Harry Potter that way. That's
if it
offensive.
wasn't for Harry Potter, we would not have to suffer through Twilight.
Well.
But yeah, Harry Potter's alright. So number 1, I'm gonna come in with a movie I actually just watched for the first time the other night. The Witch.
Spelt with 2 V's is a W.
Well, on that one poster anyway.
Every poster.
Okay, whatever. Anya Taylor-Joy, she's the lead actress in it. She does a great job.
She's also in Split.
She is also in Split. I was about to make that point. She's about to be in Glass. But the mother, I found her. I'm not sure what the actress's name is. But I have seen her in Game of Thrones. She's good. The dad, I didn't recognize the dad from anything, but he does a good job. And the younger brother Caleb, who I don't know what his actor's name is either, but he does a good job. The film is a really slow burn. It takes a little bit to get rolling, but it is really disturbing.
It is definitely disturbing. I remember seeing this one in theaters.
And towards the beginning of the movie, there's this really disturbing scene involving the old witch in the woods stealing a very young infant, and it is made vividly clear that
she has mutilated this child.
She has grounded him up into just
blood and bits,
and she rubs his remains all over her old naked wrinkly body, and then gets on a broom and flies.
Only mildly disturbing.
Yeah, it is messed up, but yeah, I found the movie to be very disturbing. One of the better horror movies I've seen in a long time. Thank you, Netflix, for allowing me the opportunity to watch it.
It's an A24 production.
Yeah, Netflix does not pay us any money, so.
But hey, if Netflix wants to sponsor us, we're down.
Yeah, we'll take any sponsors. We're desperate. Yeah, it's a great movie, and it perfectly fits this category.
Absolutely. All right, so let's get into some movie news, guys. This week we got quite a few different things. We got a Happy Death Day to You trailer, mid-90s trailer, which is supposed to be coming out here in the next week or so. Trailer for a movie called Escape Room. This one didn't come out this week, but we happened to just watch it because we were in the mood to watch Suspiria. So we watched the trailer for the remake that's coming up, and then we're also going to talk about the Fox and Disney merger. So Happy Death Day to You. What are your thoughts so far?
All right, well, I'm going to be honest. I did not watch the first Happy Death Day. Did not look that great in the first place.
Didn't watch it either, but it's okay.
But this trailer, we just had to talk about it because we saw it in front of Halloween. This movie looks god awful.
Oh, it's gonna be bad.
Yeah.
I didn't know the first one made enough money to warrant a sequel.
I didn't either. It's just basically Groundhog Day.
But people die.
With a slasher twist, I guess.
It's a babyface guy. He wears a babyface mask and he kills people.
I mean, the babyface is kind of creepy. I'll give it that. I don't know how, like I said, I don't know how the first one was, but the second one looks absolutely horrid. The trailer is not funny.
It's gonna be bad. It looks like it's a complete rehash of the second of the first movie, but we're throwing in a twist of she has to die every day, purposefully has to die every day to right this situation so she can escape the loop.
Yeah. And
So
also, the trailer spoiled the first one for me if I ever wanted to go back and watch it, because now I know who the killer was in the first film.
that's casual.
Not that I really
care.
cared. But what do you think? Got anything else to add?
I don't really have anything else to add. It looks like it's gonna be awful, absolutely terrible. Sorry to any people who are fans out there of the movie. It looks like it's gonna be bad. I don't have much to add.
Yeah. What about this Jonah Hill production?
Jonah Hill, absolutely.
Yeah, I haven't heard from him in a while. Mid-90s.
Looks like it might have some potential. I'm interested to see what Jonah Hill can do as a writer and a director.
Yeah.
I heard that he went out on the streets and found actual skaters and asked them if they wanted to be in his movie, and that is how he got some of the actors for his movie. I think that's really interesting.
Yeah.
But
we saw how that turned out when Clint Eastwood hired not real actors to play in some of his movies.
That's fair. But it looks like it's got potential, and we might have to check it out.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'll agree with you. It looks interesting. I appreciate how he kind of has that grainy film look to it. This young actor that is playing in the lead role, I don't know his name offhand. I saw him in House with a Clock in Its Walls not too long ago, and he did all right in that. I mean, for what role he had. But it could be interesting.
I'm interested to see if the entire movie's filmed in that small aspect ratio. It looks like it's like a 4:3 aspect ratio.
Yeah, so. that's really interesting. I wonder if he'll do that.
We'll see. We might have to check it out.
What about Escape Room?
This is another trailer that we saw attached to Halloween. I'm going to say right now, it also looks like it's going to be bad.
Yeah, it does not look good.
It'll probably be better than Happy Death Day 2. It looks like it's got a little bit more intriguing plot.
Yeah. Well, I'll say this. It looks like a Star Trek episode, a Star Trek holodeck episode. If you watch a lot of Star Trek, you know what I'm talking about. They did about, I don't know, every 10 episodes of The Next Generation was about them on the holodeck and the holodeck malfunctioning. So it just kind of looks like one of those Star Trek episodes just taken to the extreme.
I've never seen any of the Star Trek series. That is a cardinal sin for Aaron, but
yeah, that hurts my soul.
But it looks like it's gonna be bad. The concept is interesting to a degree, but it's gonna be bad. It's gonna be bad.
Yeah, I'm not gonna hold out much hope for it. But yeah, you know, I'll probably go watch it just for this podcast.
We might have to.
But yeah, I'm not too high on it right now.
All right, next thing we're gonna talk about the trailer for the remake of Suspiria.
Yeah, so you know, we just watched the original, and with that in mind, I'm very interested to see how they go about doing this remake. I know it is from the same director who did Call Me by Your Name. I have not watched Call Me by Your Name. I know it won a lot of awards, got nominated for several Oscars. It's got Tilda Swinton, which we said earlier.
Really good casting choice.
Yeah, really good casting choice. I assume it's going to be much more graphic.
Judging based on the trailer, I'm pretty sure it's going to be brutal.
Yeah, I heard rumors on the interwebs that some of the early screenings they had for it, people got physically sick and had to leave. And
that's saying a lot.
That's saying a lot. I've seen some brutal movies and I never got physically sick, but I'm intrigued. I don't know, that 2.5 hour running time, that makes me worried. Like, how can you keep a horror movie going for 2.5 hours?
It'll be a slow burn for sure, like some of these other movies we've talked about. I think it's got a lot of potential. It's gonna be very brutal, very violent, and based on some of the things I've also read, fairly sexualized.
Yeah, I was actually shocked. I'm gonna go ahead and spoil this about Suspiria. There is, for a movie about a witch coven, it's pretty tame. I mean, there's not a lot of bad language. There is no nudity. And I mean there's some blood, but it's super fake. And
we'll talk about that in our review though.
Yeah, so I mean really, if that movie came out today, I think it would
probably warrant a PG-13 rating.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. The violence is pushing it for PG-13, but if they didn't update the violence to look real, yeah, it'd probably catch a PG-13 rating. But not this new one.
Definitely not. That's going to be a hard R.
It's going to be a hard R.
Next up, we're going to talk about the 21st Century Fox and Disney merger.
Yeah, the reason we're bringing this up is here, I don't know, a little over a week ago, I guess, they said that they hope to have the deal finalized.
Should be finalized by January the 1st
of 2019. So I guess my first question is, how do you feel about this merger?
I am excited and nervous at the same time. I am excited for Marvel to have a lot of its
X-Men.
It's classic properties back, the X-Men and the Fantastic Four. Thank God they're getting the Fantastic Four back, especially after Four Stick that came out a couple years ago. We can't even call it a Fantastic Four movie. Hoping to see good things after Disney takes it over. Obviously, those characters are going to go to Marvel. Supposedly, they're talking about Dark Phoenix. If that goes through in time, Dark Phoenix might be released with Disney on it as well as a production credit. Is something that I heard recently.
I don't know. Disney might not want to put that name on there. Maybe put their name on that. Maybe the way I see it, but I don't know. We'll see.
What are some things you're looking forward to with this merger?
Oh yeah, same thing. I'm looking at some of Fox's other major brands. Obviously, two of their brands that I'm a huge fan of is Alien and Predator. You know, this last Predator movie was not a critical or financial success, and the last Alien movie was not a critical or financial success. So I'm interested to see if I imagine that they're going to let it sit for a while, but I'm interested to see if Disney will try to bring those back sometime in the future.
My only question about this is what they're going to do about some of these Fox films that have these R ratings, like, say, Deadpool and Logan.
Yeah.
It's not really like Disney to do stuff that's R-rated.
No.
So I'm interested to see what they're going to do, if they're going to kind of maybe create a spin-off production company that's going to try to handle those R-rated films.
Yeah, my question is, I assume Fox is going to remain intact. 20th Century Fox, I assume, is going to remain intact and just be a sub-company under Disney? Or are they just dissolving it and merging it with their own...
That's a great question.
Walt Disney Studios. I haven't read enough into it to see. I would assume they would just leave it intact as...
and then just Disney be the...
Yeah, because 20th
parent company.
20th Century Fox at one point in time was the movie studio, and it's so recognizable. I imagine that they'll just keep it intact and release, say, Deadpool and stuff under that brand.
Maybe with a Disney something attached to it somewhere.
Attached to it, but I'm excited. After X-Men Apocalypse,
it's time.
It's time to this prequel. I can't say that I've really enjoyed. I'll take that back. The prequel X-Men films, X-Men vs. Class was pretty good.
I really enjoyed it. That was a good reboot.
Yeah, Days of Future Past was good.
It is probably one of the best, if not the best, X-Men movie.
Days of Future Past?
Right behind Logan.
Yeah, but it's helped out by the fact that it's got some of the original cast members in it.
Absolutely.
And it was looking really promising, and then Apocalypse came out. That kind of...
It went downhill after that, and then this Dark Phoenix stuff going on.
It doesn't look promising.
They pushed it back about one too many times, and I think they're getting a little nervous about it.
I think they don't know whether they want to release it in February or summer. They don't know how they're.
Because I thought originally it was supposed to come out around
this year.
It was supposed to come out this year in November, around the same time as Aquaman.
Yeah.
It's going to be its big competitor. Got pushed back to February, and now I hear they're pushing it back even farther to May? June?
They're pushing it back to June. I think
they're getting a little nervous about how much money it's going to make there. Maybe they're pushing it back to that June date to try to get some more money in.
I don't really understand that because in February there was no real competition around other than, I don't know, the Lego movie or something. Now they're releasing it 1 week after Godzilla, and there's some big movie, I can't remember what it is now. I think Captain Marvel
comes out in March. That comes out in March.
Oh, they come out in March.
Mm-hmm.
There's some film coming out the week before Godzilla. Maybe it's Avengers Infinity War Part 2. Whatever it is. The new Avengers movie coming out right before that. I'm not sure, but anyway, my point is they're coming out right in the heat of the summer season now, so I don't know if that means they've gained confidence in it or if they're just
trying to put it out in that summer time frame to maybe draw in
the kids
more people because they're not in school.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I don't know. It's making me nervous. So
yeah, we'll see about that. So.
I'm looking forward to see what Disney and Marvel can do with having those characters. I'm hoping that they'll be able to make a much better film.
Oh yeah, I mean the one downside is kind of the Spider-Man effect. How many times are you gonna reboot X-Men?
It's only been rebooted once, I guess, technically, but.
Yeah, they kind of rebooted it with its prequel stuff. I mean, it's a soft reboot, but
We're gonna get a real hard reboot with Marvel.
Disney's gonna sever all ties.
I think they'll sever all ties
and they're gonna
completely recast everybody.
Because they'll want to bring back,
which will be a change.
Yeah, they'll want to bring back Wolverine because he is the most popular X-Men. I'll be honest, it's gonna take me a lot of adjusting to get used to someone not named Hugh Jackman playing Wolverine.
It's gonna be interesting.
But,
and Patrick Stewart not playing Professor X.
Oh yeah, Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen not being there. Yeah, it's gonna be rough.
It's gonna be interesting, but I'm hoping they can do something great with it. Only time will tell. Fantastic Four as well. The talks about that at this specific moment in time is after Disney gets that property. As of right now, I think they're talking about Netflix series.
Yeah, I have heard though that Paul Feige, I think this is how you say his name.
Feige, it's whatever.
Yeah, he has been given control of both franchises.
Oh, thank God.
So, you know what? I'll say that I am a big fan of what he's done with the MCU, so I'll put my faith in him. All right, so yeah, anything else you need to cover, Dylan?
I don't think we got anything else we need to cover. What we got coming up?
Like I said, Suspiria
review.
That'll come out sometime, probably Thursday. I'm going to be aiming for Thursday.
We'll look to do a Hunter Killer review.
Probably
coming out Sunday evening.
Yeah, that's our goal. Then what do we got coming out the week after that?
Week after that. What is the week after that? Bohemian Rhapsody? Possibly Suspiria if we can find it.
Yeah, I don't know when Suspiria is going to come out to a theater near us since we live out in the middle of nowhere.
We might have to make a trip to see that one if we want to see it and review it. But
yeah, I don't know if it's going to be worth a trip.
Might just wait.
We're on limited funds here, people. Then after that, we have 2 movies coming out, Overlord and The Girl in the Spider's Web.
That's going to be a toss-up on which one we decide to do that week.
Yeah,
we might end up doing 2 on that one.
I think we'll try to end up doing both of those at some point, maybe not that weekend. Then we have Fantastic Beasts and The Grinch. I don't know if we'll do The Grinch. That's still up in the air. Then it
looks like it'll be a fun time.
Creed 2 and Widows. Both of those films we intend on doing at some point. That's all the way good through November. We'll tell you about our December schedule at a later point. With that being said, I think that's about all we have for you tonight. As always, thank you for listening to DNA Film Wars. You can contact us at dnafilmwars@gmail.com.
All lowercase, no spaces.
We are up on most major podcast catchers: SoundCloud, iTunes, Stitcher,
Google Play.
We're
hoping for Spotify soon. Fingers crossed.
Spotify, TuneIn. So you should be able to find us if you look for us. YouTube. Don't forget YouTube.
Just look for us somewhere and you'll find us. Also, look out for our social medias. All of our social medias are at DNA Film Wars. But anyway, I'm Dylan.
I'm Aaron.
We'll see you next time.